Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Badger Wild, this is Badger Wild Gaming, and today I decided I would give you guys a new tip. Actually not so much of a tip as a grandmaster secret that I discovered within Ark. That this entire technique works with mentality of people. Now before I show you how to build this thing, a bit of context on the base itself. Most of you are going to see this base coming up and you're going to think, wow, man, how is this supposed to be game changing? It looks like a piece of trash. And that is the point. As it says in the description, this is an invisible base. And I promise you, once you build a base like this, you will never build massive giant bases with huge defenses and everything else again, especially if you're on a server with a group of alphas who are just coming in, pounding the heck out of you. Now what you're seeing right now appears to be a bombed out base. Now what if I told you that this was the intent? That this is what most people do when they're looking around looking for bases. They go in and they see this massive giant base and they start going in looking for materials and things like that, hoping to God that there is at least something. After you find nothing, you will leave. And I worked on this mentality a lot because mentally in Ark, your mental preparedness tells you that this is a bombed out base. It's worthless. Because in Ark, we're too used to having bases that look good. So a base like this kind of just flies in the face of everything. And when I discovered this little trick in dealing with people, or dealing with anyone that would be a potential raider, and started building a base like this. Like I said, I found this completely by accident on the center. I built a base, multiple walls, it got completely bombed out. So I decided I would salvage it as best I could. And after salvaging it, it never got raided. All the way up until I left the server, my boat got destroyed, everything. Now here's the kicker with this base, is this wall. Once you take out this wall, and you're going to see the inside of this base, and you're going to be just, your jaw's going to hit the floor. How sneaky and deceptive this base is. But like I said, when I built this base the first time, I built it completely by accident. So then after a while, I've built it 7 times. Never been raided. This base is literally invisible. And it achieves this invisibility by working against conventional Ark logic. Now conventional Ark logic states that you have to build a base. You got to build it a certain way. Most people, they build a box, they surround it with turrets, they put walls up and pray to freaking God they are not offline raided. And as I said before, this base is invisible to everyone. Because your conventional logic says that this base has been blowed out, everything's been taken, so there's no reason to attack it and go in. And as I said before, I built this base once on the center map. I've had a chance to really refine it. I've even tried some other variations, which I may show off some variations. You can see right here, it's very easy to shore this base up. You just replace a wall. And with that one wall replaced, it makes it very difficult for anyone, even the haphazard lone offline raider who comes in there and just, he comes in with his own C4 and he blows off all your doors. He'll come in, he'll look at this. And that's the beauty of this base. The deception of it plays against your mind. Your mind tells you by looking at this base, it's bombed out on first glance. It's been raided. It's worthless. You have nothing here that is worth your time. You search the stuff, you get done because you're worried about someone coming up and taking your crap. You do a quick rundown of this base and don't want to get caught inside of it. For whatever reason, you don't want to stay here for very long because there is no reward to doing anything at this base. And it also plays with the hallways on the inside. This is a common tactic within Ark. I used it before with my base, tried to make some airlocks, make things as difficult as possible for people to break in. And after I was done with it, I realized I didn't have to make people's lives miserable getting in. I just had to give them an incentive not to get inside the base, and this produced it. I did this on Scorched Earth once when we were completely wiped by the Zerg. However, the Zerg came back. The only reason we didn't keep doing it was because the Zerg came back. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you guys how this base is built and how you can use it for yourself. So anyway, what you're going to need is a nice flat surface. You're going to operate with a 4x4 base. Now this is going to be your foundational points. You're going to drop about, I don't know how many foundations are going to be dropped, probably around 16, I think. And that's going to build your 4x4 base foundation. The reason you need 4x4 is because you need that inner sanctum that looks like your inner sanctuary where you do all your crafting and forging and everything else. And as you can see here, it is a true 4x4. You need this small little basis. Now, when you're building your hole, you want to make sure that the bombed out section of your base is on the side where most people are going to see it. And I would also suggest building this base far away. But first thing you're going to want to do is put down your doors. You're going to want to put them down so that you have hallways in between the center of the base where it's 2x2. What you want is a 2x2 center base with doors leading to it on one side. But you don't want doors leading to it through your other crafting area, which is going to give your base, which is going to give away that your base has all these crafting gears and all this material. Now, next thing you want to do is you want to put your first layer of wall down. Do your outside layer of wall first. It's probably also a good idea when you're putting this thing down to have everything built up. So somewhere on this video I'll have like what how much stuff goes into this base. I'll calculate up everything that goes into it. So then once you get the first outer layer wall done, you want to do the inner sanctum, the 2x2, which is going to be your false crafting room. This is going to create the illusion that your base has been blowed into. Now, next thing you're going to want to do is put your level 2 walls. Now place those in only a 2 layer. That's all is necessary for this base. You don't need triple layers. You can go that far if you want to, but what I normally do is I maintain just a 2 layer base. Now this is very important, and what I'm doing right now in this you need to look at, because you need to close off these sections and make them look like airlocks where the entry doors are. You want this area to appear as much of an airlock in case you do get some crazy nut job who decides to put a hole through it and wants to basically see if he can put a hole in, see if you've got maybe a bed sitting in there. Now once that is finished, you want to go to your inner sanctum, and you only want to build a wall on the side that you want people to see. This is the upper wall that's going to separate your chamber up top to your true sanctum. Then you want to place ceilings inside the first layer of the base, inside the false sanctum. Then you want to go inside your actual base, drop down your ceilings on top, on the inside, place all of them in there, and then putting in your crafting stuff is totally up to you. Like I said, this is not a definitive guide. This is just how you can build this base and how it will work to show you how this can be built. Now on the outside, you need to put in all of your doors, number 1. Once that's done, and only put in enough doors. On this I have probably 6 doorways. I only put in 5 doors. No, I have 5. Yeah, that's right. 6 doorways, 5 doors. Now put in a couple of walls up top. Take out this one foundation here, and voila, the base looks like it's been blowed into. Now, what can you use this base for? Well, a lot of things. This is for the single player who's on a game with a larger alpha. We all know how hard that is for single players who always get raided. Like I said, I build this base, I build up my levels, I get right to this base point, build this thing, none of my stuff gets raided, I never lose my items, everything is hunky-dory. Now, for the other type of people, if you're someone who's going to take on the alpha, this is a great base to have as well, because you can fabricate and build all sorts of good stuff. You can also put these bases, or some bases similar to this, near strategic resources to build up your entire base structure and get you to a point where you can start fighting the alpha and start taking them down. Now, a couple words to note: you don't want to be at this base a lot. You don't want to have your boat sitting outside the base. So what I normally do is I have a refinery boat and this base, or I'll have 2 of these bases in strategic locations. And what I will do is, as I'm running around and I'm getting stuff together, I will build everything up on my resource boat, go to my base, drop everything off real quick, take the resource boat and go stash it somewhere, because it's a mobile platform. It can stay on. And I'll show how I build my resource boats in the near future. I'll do a video on that if this one does really good. However, as I said before, this base will work for guerrilla fighters. It works for the single player. It works for the guys that are playing on there and you're doing war and you want a secret war base that no one knows about. So you got access to some really cool stuff. You just got to remember to stock it, check on it every so often so that the decay meter, your walls and your floors and everything don't decay. As I said before, this base works with guerrilla fighters. It's good for an outpost base if you don't want people coming in there. Because in PvP, it's annoying when you build something out somewhere and someone comes along and like messes with it and you're not the alpha. But like you see here, it's got storage, it has a fabricator. These are basic things that you can use to just continue on in your quest for dominance in Ark. As always, and right now, we are at the part of the video where I start asking you guys to send me likes and subscribe to my channel, because it does help me out. It helps me bring this stuff in. It gives me a nice joy, and then I get an epiphany sometimes, and I'm thinking, oh wow, that's a great idea. I should do that, because these guys have been so nice to me and so great that they help me out with my channel all the time by dropping me subscribes and likes. Hit me up with a follow. And as always, remember, it's not how hard you play the Ark, it's how smart you play the Ark. And I'll see you guys next time.